Good morning. Welcome to Mega Man. It's one of my favorite games I've ever played. Mega Man actually has over 100 different Mega Man games. One of the things I just wanted to kind of focus on is, as you see on the screen here, um, this is all the Mega Man bad guys, plus Mega Man himself and a few other characters, that were fought in the original Nintendo Mega Man games. As I'm like 31, I just kind of, grew up playing video games. Nintendo was just one of the most amazing things in the world to me when I was a child. And Mega Man was part of that. It was fun. Nick and I, my twin brother, we'd started playing it. We actually really started playing about Mega Man 3 and 4, and we loved it. We loved the Mega Buster, even though it's like, people have their opinions about the Mega Buster. I love the Mega Buster. I thought it was really fun. And I just wanted to go back and play a game that was a challenge. A lot of new games now, they're real intricate. They have lots of complicated different things. And they're superior in a lot of different ways. But Mega Man had a great challenge to it, really great artistic direction. As you see all the different characters here, it just was a very creative time with the video game industry. And I thought it'd be nice to kind of go back, play all the 6 Mega Man games, and just enjoy and reflect upon them. Yeah. So, welcome to Mega Man In It to Win It. Let's get started. Well, why Mega Man? Well, it's linear. One thing I like about Mega Man is it's a really, first off with Mega Man, I was kind of in debate about which games to play, because there's multiple different kinds of games from the old Nintendo series. Like, let's say there was like Zelda or Super Mario Brothers, and I was just thinking about like wanting to go back and playing something. And something that I really liked about Mega Man is that Mega Man's actually really linear. It's just straightforward. You got to go from the beginning to the end of the level. Mega Man just shoots and he fires, especially the earlier games. That was even simpler. And it was just feel goal-oriented. Like, if I picked Metroid's awesome. Metroid's easily one of my favorite games, particularly like Super Metroid. But you have to get all the energy tanks and all the extra missiles. And it's sort of a gray area, unless you want to just get every little thing in the game. You're just going to spend more of your time searching for stuff. With Mega Man, you're just trying to beat that level. With that said, Mega Man's also kind of non-linear. It's the first game that you could actually pick which level you wanted to play with right at the bat. So you'd have like all the different themed levels of like Elecman, like electricity-based level, and Cutman, sort of a different kind of level. But Ringman had sort of ring-themed things within it. Dustman was sort of like post-apocalyptic factory awesomeness, just kind of creative. And so you can kind of actually pick which level you were going to pick, or which level you wanted to actually play in. And that kind of added just a fun dynamic to Mega Man. Also really hard. Like, Mega Man 1 is considered one of the hardest Nintendo games of all time. And really, particularly early Mega Man, is just quite a bit of a challenge. I like the idea of going back and beating those hard games without cheating, without having some code that gives you 1,000,000 lives. Just do it legitimately and have fun doing it in the process. And Mega Man's just interesting. That said, it's just there's different artistic directions taken with all the bad guys. And one thing that what Capcom's always been really good about is with the Mega Man games, all these Japanese children would actually, these Mega Man's from Japan, all these Japanese children would send in all these ideas that they had for the different Mega Man bad guys they would want after, like, let's say the first one, right? And they would actually use those ideas to make the characters, and then the kid would probably get like some gold edition Nintendo game or whatever. And so it'd be a big honor to a kid, and also it's like them giving early acknowledgement to their fan base. There's going to be no Mega Man X in this. Mega Man X is, first off, not a Nintendo game. Also, Mega Man X is just very different than the original Mega Man games. It's awesome, but it's sort of giving Mega Man a facelift, kind of trying to update Mega Man in different ways. And that's sort of like ready for like another time. Yeah, so 6 games is enough. I'm gonna focus on Mega Man, original Mega Man, classic Mega Man. And yeah, I just played it with Nick. I loved it. So a typical Mega Man game is, well, it's Mega Man sort of shoots forward, right? He starts off kind of wimpy, but he's a little blue bomber, and he just shoots his little gun. He gets a Mega Charger that kind of offsets things a little bit later in the games, but for particularly in the early parts of the Mega Man games, all he does is he shoots like a little pellet, right? That's his only thing. He can't shoot up. He can't shoot down. He just shoots forward. And so a lot of it is you having to kind of maneuver through the different levels and try to shoot forward and basically wait to get more powers. It's like there's the 8 theme level bosses, the Robot Masters. You have to kind of beat all of them. And as you beat each of the Robot Masters, you get their powers, which is awesome. Once you have their powers, it's sort of like you feel like you're done with the game, except that it's only about halfway through the game, because then you got to fight like the main bad guy, which is Dr. Wiley, and so you get to utilize all those Mega Man powers, or the Robot Master's powers, that Mega Man has grabbed, so you can go to beat Dr. Wiley and beat all his kind of, kind of more elaborate bosses. Like the bosses are often like 5 to 10 times the size, 5 to 8, whatever, times the size of Mega Man. As I said. Sort of works on a rock, paper, scissors system. As you kind of see here, the snow guy gets the fire guy, electricity, elect man he's hurt by cut man. And so they're sort of hurt by, so you can pick, like this is a good example, Mega Man 2, considered probably one of the greatest Mega Mans in lots of people's opinions. In Mega Man 2, you can actually kind of see where Mega Man technically, right, his main screen in the beginning, he can technically fight any of these bad guys first, but they're hard. And so if he tries to fight one of them, but he's just shooting with a little wimpy pellet, it's not going to really work out. But then if he gets a power, like let's say Windman, right, you get kind of the Leaf Man's powers, and or Woodman. You get Woodman's little leaf thing, whatever, and it hurts Windman. Fire, of course, is for the wood guy, and that's sort of, how they can kind of work with the different powers, how they're kind of affected and hurt. It's just a better strategy. Now, something to think about, too, is that, like, back then, we didn't really have the internet. It's not like let's say, Minecraft now, is that the guy who created Minecraft, he just assumes that you're going to just scour the internet to find facts and information to make the game work the way you want it to work. Back then, in the 80s, there wasn't really internet. I mean, yeah, there was technically internet, but it didn't really exist in the form it does now. And so, all you had was maybe the latest edition of Nintendo Power to kind of help you along within one of the Mega Man games. We had like a subscription. It was pretty cool. But sometimes you had to like remember, like what hurt what. Like the snake got stabbed, and the spin guy, the top man, which is sort of like one of the wimpiest ever of the bad guys, but I'll get into that later. There's a top man, he beats like Shadow Man, and Magnet Man, totally cool guy. Obviously getting hit by the metal dude, right? Makes sense. Electromagnetic, different kind of themes. Coolness. Okay, more of this. Light bulb, frog, water, dustman, rings. This one doesn't really make a lot of sense in some of it, but what you gonna do? They try. So, damage. This kind of just gets a little deeper into damage. We kind of talked about certain powers hurt in certain ways. As you kind of see on the right is Elect Man. Mega Man just like shot Elect Man. And if you look, his basic arm cannon, it only does 1 point of damage. It's not a whole lot. The bad guys, the Robot Masters, they usually have about 30 points of damage. So I mean, you'd have to hit Elect Man 30 times to kill him. Elect Man is so powerful that Mega Man basically has about the same amount of points, right? About 30. When Elect Man fires his little electrical net thing, it takes 10 points of power from you. So with Mega Man's basic cannon, I'd have to hit him 30 times to kill him. He only has to hit me 3 times to kill me. So that's not really very weighted very well. With that said, if you kind of wait till a little later in the game, once you've kind of beat some of the other guys, you can kind of see that like the rolling cutter, it's from Cutman, does 10 points of damage. So that's 1, 2, 3. So at least it's an even match, right? 3 of hits it kills me, 3 of my hits kills him, and so you can kind of fight it. As you kind of see here too, there's like the super. If you decide to get super arm, that's 4, and then hyper bombs 2. So usually it kind of works in a way that it's like one of the items is just devastating, while some can have a little bit of power, and sometimes they have no effectiveness. So let's check it out, a little graphic. Boom. We also got some recurring bad guys, right? Guys that showed up in like Mega Man 1 and kind of showed their way all the way through, right? We have Sniper Joe on the left. He's sort of like a prototype of as far as plot and that kind of stuff, for whatever it's worth. He's sort of like the prototype of Mega Man, right? Like, I don't know, like Dr. Wiley's version of them trying to do it, trying to make his own thing. But, Sniper Joe, he kind of holds his own. He has kind of different things over time. He has his little shields and stuff. Well, I think the one I kind of like the most is kind of like the Diamond Joe, whatever. Where, like, if you look at the bottom, a Crystal Joe, he sort of would like charge this crystal. This was like during the Mega Man 4, if I remember right, when Mega Man have like a Mega Buster, and so the kind of counter to that is Sniper Joe. He would charge this crystal, and you'd basically have to like when he's charging a crystal, you couldn't actually fire on him. It would just deflect off. So you have to wait for him to shoot the crystal, dodge the crystal, and then fire at him before he started charging up another crystal. Sort of the Goomba of the Mega Man is Met, which is the guy on the right. He's sort of odd in the sense that like you keep thinking he's like a medical guy. He's got a little medical thing on his head. But when he ducks down, he's like a little armor shield. You can't do anything about it. Like you can fire and nothing happens. But then when he pops up, he's vulnerable to damage. At the same time though, when he's vulnerable to damage, he'll often fire at you or run at you or, try to kill you. So they're pretty formidable, and they come in all sorts of different versions throughout Mega Man's history. Mega Man's not alone in his journey. He kind of gets a couple little friends. He gets Rush, Eddie, and Beat. They kind of show up throughout the different games and sort of evolve over time. You can kind of see here, like this is all the kind of different versions. Mega Man 1 didn't really have much. He just had this kind of buggy line thing. You shoot a line, you could hop on it, and you could shoot, and you could kind of, it's like you could use it basically as steps. And then like Mega Man 2, Mega Man would get some kind of cool abilities, like you have a little jet and that kind of stuff. But really, it was still just Mega Man. He just had different toys. Rush took on most of those ideas of his tools. Like Rush Marine, Rush Jet, Rush like spring coil thing. And Rush would kind of be like more of a, I don't know, add a little companionship to Mega Man. Then of course you had Eddie, which Eddie didn't really do much. He didn't have nearly as much personality as Rush. And he just sort of walked towards you, and he'd throw you an item. He'd like throw you a bone from time to time, right? While Beat was kind of cheap. Right, first you have to like find the BEAT in different levels, and when you got those, you'd get Beat, and then Beat would just sort of run down its power over time. But Beat would sort of kill anything around you, and the one-hit wonders, he would just wipe them out. Beat, like, I didn't use him a whole lot. Like, he wasn't really that helpful. But what Beat was helpful was with a couple bosses, you could just have Beat, and Beat would just destroy him. So that was like you just waiting around, waiting for Beat to do your dirty work for you. Mega Man got kind of cool at the end, too, where he had sort of like power rockets and like a charge fist thing. And yeah, I mean, Mega Man 6 was also was pretty awesome, but we'll end up talking about that later. So this is the Mega Man intro. I'll be kind of, since it's kind of a big presentation with each of the Mega Man games, I'll just be doing, I'll be kind of going game by game. And so things to look forward to. Well, I'm Christian, and I'll see you next time. Great.